Okay, it has been one hell of a month. I'm really sorry to see it end, but I am sure we will have Elizabeth back in the near future to take another month from us. So without any further ado, I give you our friend from Louisville, Kentucky, Elizabeth.
Thanks, everybody. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I am an alcoholic, and tonight we are beginning on page 88, and we're just going to read the last few little paragraphs there. We've just finished talking about step 11, and it says, "It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined." So we've just gone over these action steps 10 and 11, which is our way of life. And when it says we alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined, I have found that for me, I get into a lot of pain if I stay in a selfish way of life. If I am so good at walking around thinking about how things are affecting me, it's my core identity. I swear. I can think that I'm not in self. I can think that I'm working the program. I can think I'm with God. I can pray to God. And then 2 seconds later, I can feel it. I go to a lot of meetings because I need to hear people talking about the bondage of self and what it sounds like, because I can disguise its voice so fast. I love going to hear a speaker named Randy M. I go try to hear him. He speaks on Wednesday and Saturday, and I'll think I'm not in the bondage of self. And then I'll hear him talk and I'll think, oh, I've been in the bondage of self all week. And for me, it just feels like, it really does feel like bondage. It feels like I'm in a prison. And for me, it's become less and less tolerable over time. Like it's the most painful thing. I'm going through something now where I'm realizing the facts about another person and things that I didn't know for sure, suspected, didn't know for sure. And it's just killing me. I mean, it is really, I'm full of so much anger the past really the past week or more. But that's about how it affects me. I'm not trusting God. I'm not trusting God to run the situation, to decide. I saw something today. There's also this really good Facebook group called How Free Do You Want to Be? And it's Joe McF. You should have him sometime, Howard, from Galveston Island, Texas. He he's got a great Facebook group, and he posts these daily reflections that he writes himself. And I read one recently, and it was about judgment and anger. And when I run around judging what I think God ought to be doing, it's really painful, and I get into anger. And the opposite of that, God is about love. God wants me to be loving and trust him wholeheartedly so that I don't have to be in pain. And that's the discipline for me. When it says we're undisciplined, I'm undisciplined. I am not the kind of person I can't tell you that all 37 years, I get up in the morning, I do 20 minutes of meditation, I read 84 to 88. I've never been that person, okay? That shouldn't surprise anybody who knows me very well. But when I get into pain, the one thing I always say, the one thing that I've done right in AA is that I come running back here when I'm in pain and I raise my hand and I say, what do I do? Help me. And I've become disciplined because I know it works and because the pain becomes too great and I can't take it anymore. I knew yesterday I sat down and I wrote inventory and then I read it to my sponsor. I had to. There was no choice. I wasn't going to go through another day of rage because that's what I was feeling, was rage. And I was like, all right, I got to get back to myself. What the heck's going on here? We need to see what's going on with Elizabeth. I can't blame another person. So I really take this thing seriously and I really do it. And Howard said, he actually told me to do these paragraphs last week and I didn't see his chat. So I'm going to read the next one, but I'm going to then kind of go back over the chapter we've just been in. The next paragraph is, but this is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12. And, how many times do we hear about this? Action, action, action. The chapter Into Action, and by the way, there's a sarcastic big book that the chapter is called Into Thinking. How many people do you know get stuck on the fourth step forever? They just get stuck there. A lot of times we lose them there. They go back out. They don't do this. And why is that? This chapter, steps 5 through 11. I think 5 through 9 begins the process of us connecting to other people. Step 5 is the first time I'm admitting all this stuff to somebody, and I'll never forget every single time. Actually, I'll go back through the book every few years myself and write and do the stuff that I do with sponsees. And the last time I did that with my sponsor, and I went to do the fifth step with her, I remember getting that same feeling where I'm just looking at all that stuff I wrote down, and I thought, oh God, now I have to read it, you know? But she didn't run away. It was okay, you know? Who I am deep down, somebody was like, it's okay. I get it. I'm with you. I understand. I don't think it's a mistake who we end up with as sponsors. I really don't. I'm always waiting for it. I'm like, when I get someone new, I'm like, where is it? There's something that attracted her to me, and then I found out what it is. And then there's that connection that's built, you know, and it's such a beautiful thing, and then we learn more about like what our patterns are, what we're living with. What is my bondage of self? What is my character that I've built? I've built a character. Maybe I built it in childhood to deal with, I was a child of two alcoholics, you know. I knew how I needed to find out the temperature of everybody in the house before I knew if I could go in the kitchen and make a sandwich. That's led me to be a very codependent person, which I'm actually looking at in coda now. I'm having a really awfully painful coda first step. I just did the first step with my sponsor the other day, actually. And I'm realizing a lot. And a lot of those patterns were built in childhood, and they keep me blocked from an experience with a higher power, just the way alcohol did. Same thing. Um, and then in step 6, being willing to let go of these defects of character that I had found out about myself. Um, and I found that some of them, they go away right away. I can't live a sober life and keep stealing from people and lying to people and cheating on people because I can't drink over it anymore. But some of the more subtle defects, boy, but I don't decide when they get taken away. Some of them have been really useful. Pride has kept me doing the right thing sometimes because I think you're going to find out. So I don't get to decide. I'm the kind of person that wants to stand up for somebody who doesn't have a voice. That's gotten me into trouble and into situations I haven't, necessarily been happy that I ended up in, but they ended up being useful somehow. Um, I'm not a huge fan. I know it's in early sobriety. I like this stuff more, looking at sheets of defects of character. I think that can be helpful. But I'm more about like, let's go out and live life. Let's not spend more time navel gazing. We don't need to do that. We need to go live our life. And you know what? The defects of character will show up. Getting into AA service. I used to say I worked my program most in my marriage, but then I got into AA service. And then I came into contact with people that were difficult to deal with that I needed to be nice to. I didn't necessarily like what they were doing. And I needed to be nice and patient and loving to them. And boy, did I quickly find out how fast I needed to pray to God and ask God for help. Help me. I can't do this. If I could do it, I wouldn't be here trying to live a spiritual life. I wouldn't be trying to have a spiritual experience and asking God for help if I could do it myself. And that's what it's all about. Everything is emphasized over and over. This is about me, step 3, step 7, step 11. It's about me developing this relationship with higher power and saying, I'm here to do your will. What is your will? Talk about an ego bruiser. Like, talk about diminishing the ego. And if I think I don't have an ego, tell me to apologize first to somebody that I think they owe me amends first, that they're more at fault. My friend in Louisville, Cindy M., she said a long time ago, she said, it doesn't matter if they're 99% wrong and I'm 1% wrong. I got to take care of my 1%. And since everything I believe is about humility, it's all about humility and staying humble. Harry Tebow talks about that. Our only chance is staying surrendered. That's it. I can't pretend to be surrendered. I have to really be surrendered. And I can feel it when I'm not. When it says disciplined, I feel that feeling. I know when I'm faking it. I hate it. I don't have a poker face. I'm not good at it. I can't, I never have been. So I pray and I ask God for help. And, I had a great experience one time. there's been so many times I even just write the fourth step, and when I write it, I'm good. I don't, and then I read it, it's great. But there was a time I kept getting stuck, 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 and I'd write and I wasn't getting relief, and I wasn't getting relief. And I remember one time I just threw my notebook down. I went and laid on my bed. I started crying. I called my sponsor and I said, I can't take it anymore. What do I do? She said, just keep doing the work. And she meant the work of AA. So I did. I just kept doing it. I kept staying in action. And, for me, COVID has been really a great thing because I, when I learned the big book, then a lot of the meetings that I'm around became kind of not, I didn't enjoy them anymore. There's a lot of open discussion here. And so I got to hear the message of recovery from more people outside of my hometown. And then I got to get involved in service and then sponsorship. And it's totally opened up the world for me. I have an understanding of this program the way I didn't have before. And thank God, because it seems like, I've been sober 37 years, and it seems like right before I need my program to level up, it does. Like I couldn't have stayed, I still couldn't have gotten through this based on 5 years ago sobriety, or recovery, whatever. So I'm really grateful for that. And then steps 8 and 9, I just went through this today with Emily at our big book study at noon. And this is another place where I stay humble. I run things past somebody else, you know. Especially in the delicate situations where, do you talk about this? Do you not talk about this? Do you approach this person? Do you not? There's a lot of things like that. We be careful and look at, is it going to affect somebody or harm somebody else? Um, all with the desire to be helpful, useful, bring love, bring harmony. I love that confusion versus harmony. Am I bringing harmony or am I bringing confusion? Am I bringing harm? These are things I never considered before. I just plowed through life, running around like a tornado in my little dry drunk phase that lasted for decades, literally, because I didn't know. I didn't know, literally didn't know. Um, and then talking about 10, 11, and 12, or 10 and 11, I think they are so important to go together. I really can't get to God if I've got something going on with self. When my self is loud, when it's noisy, when I'm sitting around judgmental and angry, I can't get to God. I'm on that channel where, and I've been in it. It happened. Something else happened today. It's just been something else happened today. I don't like being proven right. I do and I don't. It's like that thing where you go, I knew it. Oh, I knew it. God damn it. Oh, sorry. But yeah, it's just been another. I've been praying a lot. I took some time today to rest and meditate and really get quiet before I got with you guys. And it's just I hate this because it's just taking time too. It's just going through kind of a grief of an illusion that's really painful, and seeing a lot and growing a lot. And but I step 10, literally leads us into what it says that we're doing with 10, 11. What does it say? The next thing we do is jump into step 12. I can't get out of self easily. I don't know if I'm hard-headed. I don't know what's going on with me, but the best way for me to stop thinking about me is to go help somebody else. And I ask God for help, and I look for the signs that God has shown up. Yesterday I made a list of how God has shown up in my life in the last month because I needed to create hope. I needed to see that. I'm sorry. My sponsor said something about that. And I have this awesome new sponsor in Coda now who's been really helping me see some things. And so I sat and I wrote how God has shown up in my life in the last month. And it's been amazing. Like stuff I never would. I mean, even this, like getting to speak for Howard and Kathy, like that's been such an honor for me, you guys. Like really, um, doing everything that I get to do in AA has been beautiful. Friends have shown up in ways that I don't deserve, I'm sure, for how I've ever been there for them over the years, and just really like looking around at, I'm okay. I'm okay. I didn't think I was going to be okay, and I'm okay. I'm living alone for the first time in 33 years and I'm okay, you know? And but yeah, so I seek that relationship with God all day and I try to stay unblocked, but it's hard sometimes. But talking about step 10, when it says, you know, we watch for that character, we pray and ask God for help, we make amends if we need to, and then we turn our thoughts to someone we can help. And I like to put that into action. I like to, you know, I have a home group that's online. It's a newcomers group. It meets every day at 4 o'clock. It's called ABC Newcomers. And we get a lot of people looking for sponsors. We get a lot of newcomers. I mean, Zoom has changed the game. Alcoholics think they have a problem with drinking and they press a button and they come online. I mean, I have never seen so many drunk people. We had to develop a policy in our group for how to handle the drunk people. Um, but it's absolutely amazing because at any time I can simply look at my WhatsApp list. Who haven't I checked on? You know, how can I get out of self right now? I can pick up my phone and I can look through this list of people and I can go check on somebody. What did they say? We have a sponsors group, ABC sponsors. It's everybody in the group who sponsors, and we throw names in there, and then we go check on these people and see how they're doing. You know, and see if they've gotten a sponsor. Um, and that's just beautiful. And I hope, you know, my whole life has changed because of being active in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I wasn't for many, many years. I was busy with kids for one thing, so it's a lot easier now. You know, I sponsor a lot of women with little kids, and they get online at night, and their kids are asleep. You know, I couldn't have done that before at in-person meetings. I mean, you know, you can't do that. You don't have anybody to watch the kids, so it's been such a great experience. And you know, as far as it says, faith without works is dead. You know, I literally can't just sit around and read another book. I have ADHD too, and my brain will just if it's got something going on, I can't even tell what I'm reading. I don't even know what I'm reading. Um, but when I get out and help somebody else, you know, I listen to them and what's going on with them. And, you know, they're asking me a lot of times, they're asking me for my experience, strength, and hope about something. That is inspiring, you know. The three sides of the triangle: recovery, unity, and service. You know, service is the spirit side. That's the side where I'm out there helping. I'm either helping keep the doors of AA open or I'm helping another alcoholic. And when I go out from me to you, something happens to me. You know, it's where God starts to show up. Um, I don't think I shared this in here. When I was first getting asked to speak in AA, this woman called me from California. And did I tell the story? And she had all these problems I didn't have, and I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't have half her experience. I don't know what to say to her. She sounds pretty helpless. Yeah, I did. I talked about this because the first time I had conscious contact, I'm pretty sure I talked about it. But, you know, I prayed and I asked God, I said, I don't know what to tell this woman. What do I say to her? And I didn't even realize I was praying. You know, it just kind of happened. And I heard she called you, give her your experience. And I started talking about the AA triangle and and kind of briefly went over what that meant. And she started laughing and she said, oh my God, I'm not doing anything. I'm not. And by the next day, she'd taken action in two of the three sides and she felt better. But it was the first time I realized that I could pray and ask God for an answer and get it, you know, when I didn't have the answers and develop that conscious contact, you know, I'm trying to do that now, but I feel like I'm on some kind of playground, like Ferris wheel or something. I'm like in this horrible place in my life and not wanting to accept the reality of what is being shown to me. And it's not fun. If anyone's been there, like I'll put my number in the chat, just call me. But I'm like praying for mercy because it's so painful to see the truth about somebody I trusted is really what's going on. It's been awful. Um, so I'm just also grateful that it's pushing me into another place in my life, another chapter in my life, I guess, and trying to, you know, dive into this other fellowship. I probably needed to be there really for a long time. Didn't want to confess that, right? Um, but you know, it's so funny when people start studying the book and they're like, and they read chapter one and they think they're done with step one. No, you're going to be in step one through the end of chapter three. And then you're going to have, it's just funny. But yeah, there's a lot of steps in this chapter. 5 through 9. Sorry, 5 through 11. What am I saying? I always group 5 through 9 together in my head. Um, and I'm really excited for the person that's going to be speaking about step 12 next week. Uh, that chapter, it says it's entirely devoted to step 12. It's really mainly about working with others, which is just a portion of step 12, as Howard would tell you. And that's one of the three parts of step 12. Um, I may be in a tough place, and I believe in being transparent. It has saved my life in this program to tell people what's going on and not hide it, not pretend like I'm doing better than I am. So I encourage you to do that too. I mean, if anything, if 37 years means anything, I'm going to tell you that me coming and raising my hand and telling people I'm struggling has helped me. But I usually have a lot easier time with getting from 10 to 11 than I am lately. But it is an opportunity for me to continue to grow and seek help, and I am. And that's the beautiful part about it. I know from my AA experience that I'm going to get through this. And even though I'm in the first step in another fellowship and it's painful, I'm doing the work. I know this process works. And that's why I'm doing it. And that's why I don't take it for granted. I don't want to lose my place in AA. I don't want to drink again. And I could. I've gotten close to a drink. At 34 years, I got close to a drink over the situation I'm in pain over now, which is just nice. Hi, Dina. I know you know what's going on. But anyway, yeah, God is molding me in some kind of way. And I don't know where it's gonna go, and it's okay. I don't need to know. I'm in today. I'm with you. I'm okay. And it's been such a beautiful experience to really feel the love from so many people in this program who've reached out, who know because I've talked about what's going on. And if any of you guys have something going on and you haven't shared about it, like I hope you do. It's it's definitely, I feel, what is it, exposed sometimes, but I know that I wouldn't be able to live any other way. I couldn't. It's too much for me alone. So, yeah, Howard, I'm going to end there. Who do you got? I want to know who you have next week, and I'm excited for them. But like for me, 10, 11, and 12 definitely go together because I will just go back into self if I don't get out there and help. I love that we get to do that, that's our purpose. Our maximum is to fit ourselves to be of service to others. That's it. That's what I'm here to do. I'm lucky that I'm alive. I drove in blackouts. I have a disease that will kill me. So, what better purpose could there be than for me to go and help other alcoholics, to go find them? You don't wait for them to call you. I hope that your speaker next month talks about that. We go find them. The book tells us we go find them. We don't sit around and wait for them. The attraction, not promotion, is tradition 11, not step 12. So, just in case anybody didn't know that. And I love you all. Thank you for having me. It's been quite an honor. I look forward to hearing you guys. Thanks.